See it on my face. I made up my mind. Not another day. You're on borrowed time. Let me get away. Yeah, I'm running. Yeah, I'm running. So love me or leave me. I'm standing alone. Can't shake a feeling that lives in my bones. Lie to me, tell me you wish that you could, but nothing you gave me is worth what you took. 'Cause baby, when I'm gone for good. Feel it rising up, then I push it down, saying you're in love. I could go without, let me get away. It's over now, it's over now. So love me or leave me, I'm standing alone. Can't shake a feeling that lives in my bones. Lie to me, tell me you wish that you could, but nothing you gave me is worth what you took. Baby, when I'm gone for good.
I start to slip away, and I surrender. I surrender. There's no more falling down. I've hit the ground, so I surrender. still running from my demons. I'm still hiding all my secrets. And I just need someone I believe in. Will you wait for me while I'm still healing? You know what to say. Every time I try to slip away, and I surrender. I surrender. There's no down, I've hit the ground, so I surrender. I surrender. There's no more falling down, I've hit the ground.
Seems to separate stranger to me, to you. But the pieces make me watches the breeze, mind goes, it's more than a storm.